Hey everybody, it's Gavin Seim, and in today's quick video, I'm going to show you how to use mods in apps like Lightroom, Capture One, Camera Raw. When you're editing a photo, let's say you're in Lightroom, you're in Capture One. If you use my presets, you already have the mods I'm showing you today, but I'm going to show you how to make your own as well. Let's say I come to this photo and I go to the new natural HDR. So let's do something like Skinscape on this, okay? Now, what does a mod do? This is a dynamic range preset, and I'm like, it's still a little bit too light. I could come over here and manually adjust settings, but I could also quickly go to a mod preset. So for example, if I go to Mod Kit 2, which comes with natural HDR, I could go to the exposure minus mod. Notice what this does. It darkened my exposure, but it didn't adjust any of the global settings. What do I mean by global settings, a global preset? A global preset or style is a recipe that essentially affects the whole image. So for example, let's go to a different pack. I'm going to go to Filmus. If I go here and do Portrait 400 on here, let's say, we've done all these advanced settings and colors and manipulations to get an authentic Portrait 400 film look. If I then go to another master preset, let's say I go over here and switch to Ektar 100. Now, all of this is changing, right? The preset's affecting curves, it's affecting the tonality. The only thing it's leaving alone is exposure, because it's a variable that most presets should generally leave alone, and white balance. A preset should almost never touch white balance because it's a very huge variable that will look different on every image. But a master preset changes everything, whereas a mod preset only changes a few things. So for example, in Filmus, we have the Chem Kit 2 mods. It has its own mod set, very trim, but really focused on getting those filmic kind of looks. And if I, for example, do the develop push +1, you can see it lightens it up, right? If I do area and light, you can see that it's only affecting clarity and texture and dehaze over here. If I do vignette darkroom, it's only applying a vignette. What this allows you to do is to do pretty advanced mods. For example, some of my curve mods do things that are advanced with an F curve or something like that, and then you can just turn that one thing up or down without changing the master recipe of your image. So whether it's mods from something like Mod Kit or whether it's mods built into a preset pack, the goal of mods is that you have your main recipe, your master preset or style, and then you can just add something on top of it. This also works in Capture One, and I design my mods in the same way. The same goes if you're doing something like speed masks. I could go to a portrait AI mask here, and it's only going to apply those masks while leaving all the other settings alone. Rather than what a lot of people do where they make a preset and they're like, oh, this is Portrait 400 and this is Portrait 400 contrasty. What do? We go in and we say, okay, here's Portrait 400, and now I want to have a little more contrast, so I'm going to do the push ISO contrast. I can also individually adjust the opacity of that last preset applied, so it's only going to affect those settings, and I can turn it up and down. Of course, in Capture One, we could apply it to a layer and turn the opacity down if we wanted to control it a little more. In each of my preset packs now, that pack comes with mods that are specific to that pack. So the new Natural HDR is coming with really powerful mods that I've really refined to be specific to the theme of dynamic range. You'll see this used really effectively in my latest preset packs. So if I go to something like this and I say, okay, let's do the Skinscape. So one of my favorites here is the Ultra Range Magic Mask. These are going to take this over contrasty scene and really balance that out from a dynamic range perspective while not affecting the color and the nuance of the portrait preset, the HDR Skinscape preset we applied from Natural HDR 5. So in 2 clicks, going from here to here is pretty amazing. But don't forget, there's also Mod Kit. The reason Mod Kit is a separate pack, and the reason I recommend you do the same, is because you can have a lot of mods, exposure mods, vignettes, grain, ISO. The thing is, I don't need every single mod to be in every single pack, because the goal is actually less presets, not more. The last thing you want is 1,000, 5,000, 9,000 presets. It completely defeats the purpose of having tools at your fingertips that allow you to work efficiently. That's why presets are so powerful, and why all pros are using them. So let's say I go to here in Natural HDR again and I do the night lights or the shadow shimmer mix, right, for this night scene. I can go up to Mod Kit and say I want it to be a little softer. I want it to be a little grittier. I want a little more grain or a little higher grain. I want a vignette. And notice how each and every one of these, I apply the F curve and it applies this nice advanced F curve, and I can turn that up and down and control the contrast. But look down here to the right, all that's being changed is just this point curve. Now, if you use my preset packs, they have all the mods I'm showing you, and some of my free packs even have some of my mod presets. But if you want to make your own mods, you can also do that. And you can make your own separate mod pack that then works across all your preset. It's actually very simple. Let's say you kind of did a contrast mod where you were adjusting shadows and highlights and blacks, right? So you moved those settings around. All you have to do is go up and create a preset. And the secret to a mod is just go down here and check none, and then only select the things you want. So let's say only shadows, highlights, whites, and blacks, right? Now I can save that into my mod kit, my mod pack, and save that preset. Now the secret to what makes a mod really good, if you want universal mods like I'm doing in ModKit and like my preset packs, is testing. You say, okay, I'm going to make a contrast or a dynamic range mod and it works good on one image, but then you got to go test it across different images and tweak it a little bit to kind of find this balance that works on a light image, on a dark image, on a portrait, on a landscape, on street. And so what you do is you find kind of this perfect balance of refinements, and then you save that as your final version of your mod. Remember, the goal is that you save time and have to do manual sliders less, and also have more of a balanced perspective on how much you apply by having these pre-made recipes, preset styles, right? In Capture One, you'll see I also have ModKit created in here. Again, to make your own, if you go up to the three dots here and click Save Custom Style, so you could say, I'm going to turn everything off and only target the curve and save that. That's the difference between a mod preset only affecting one or two or three elements and a global, a master preset that it changes the whole look, the whole recipe of your process. And yes, mods can be for anything. So I could take something like this and do HDR Earthscape, right? This is a global, a master preset, and it gives me this look, and I can turn it up and down and adjust it. But I can see that I still lack in the sky. I'm just going to go right down here to my AI sky magic masks. I'm going to click on that, and boom, there is my sky. And you can see how all that preset did is add the sky masks, which I now have exact control over. Again, 2 clicks and I brought out what I needed. So this kind of processing of mods, especially when it comes to things like speed masks and portrait masking and things like that, is actually really important, because I'll usually do a portrait mask, an AI mask, a speed mask last, because particularly in Lightroom, although in all the apps, these AI masks really bog down the system. Lightroom turns into a complete dog once you add these masks, and it slows everything down. So I will do all the processing first and then apply the mask. I know it shouldn't be that way. Adobe should have resolved that a long time ago. These AI masks in these raw processors, they slow things down and are way more sluggish than masks in layers like we have in something like Photoshop. So the takeaway here is you apply your master preset. This is your main recipe. You can then turn it up and down, add layers, right? So you have your raw file, you have your preset, then you come in and you add your mods. You can organize and set those up however you want. However, if you're using Natural HDR5, Silver, you want to install ModKit, because it gives you this large, powerful, large extension of all these mods, everything from subtle color tinting to tone. And in ModKit 2, there's a lot of organization where you can see we have tone mods, color mods, AI mods, and kind of the essentials right up here. ModKit is this whole dedicated preset pack that works over and above the mods that you may already have in something like Natural HDR, like Filmist, or in packs that you're using. Mods are isolated little bits that you can stack on top of any global preset that just let you have more control quickly without having way too many presets cluttering up your workspace so that you never find what you need. And that's why I designed them this way. That's why I created ModKit to be a separate mod pack. And this will work across any process. Any other presets you're using, you're probably going to find yourself going to ModKit as well. I hope you guys found this useful and the mod presets in general make more sense and that you'll be using them. If you want to download some of my free presets, I'll put some links in the comments. And of course, if you're making your own, just follow some of these tips that I gave you, because your workflow will improve. If you like this, hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.